Alright, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to begin this lesson by giving all glory, all honor, and all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Racha Kodash. I'd like to give double honors, double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who surely do rule well. To the men standing by the highways and byways, sincerely pushing this doctrine, I'd like to say Shalom. And even unto the sincere awkward, the sisters who sit listening these lessons in silence, subjection, and obedience unto their husbands, I like to say Shalom. Alright, there's your brother here, Maya Shala, coming back to you again with another bit of edification, and Lord's willing, this lesson is edifying. Topic for the lesson, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Racha Kodash, is gonna bring a war to this world, the likes of which you have never seen before. They Deuteronomy 32 and from verses 39, going to start with this precept. See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no power with me. I kill, and I make alive, I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So the bold proclamation, the bold boast that the Lord is making when it's time to bring judgment, when it's time to kill, and when it's time to wound, there's nobody that can stop him. And understanding that this is the might, the power that the Lord wields, He's going to use this power and come against this world. He's going to bring down this world with great judgment, with great justice and great destruction. We're going to get into. So if I lift up my hand and say, I live forever, for I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. If I wet my glittering sword and mine hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies, and will reward them that hate me, which the Lord coming to reward them that hate him, because the world that he's going to come to is a world that is completely devoid of body, elect men, women, and children. Right, they're going to be completely devoid of faith in the Lord, right? They're not going to believe in the Lord by the time he comes, right? But they're going to believe after he comes, because he's going to make them believe, right? Verse 42, I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives from the beginning of revenges upon the enemy. Rejoice, ye nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and to his people. And Moses came and spake all the words of this song in the ears of the people, and Hosea, Joshua, the son of Nun. So first of all, the Lord is making a bold proclamation. He's the one who is in charge of whether we live or die, and he's going to bring vengeance and judgment and justice to his enemies, right? And we understand they're not new with the Lord, right? The heathens understand this. They Malachi 1 and 14, but cursed be the deceiver, which had in his flock a male, and vow it and sacrifice it unto Yahweh, a corrupt thing. For I am a great king, saith Yahweh of hosts, and my name is dreadful among the heathen. He's a great king, and his name is renowned with dread and terror amongst the heathens, right? Because what we dealing with the God of war, right? We're not dealing with no wishy-washy God. We're dealing with a God of judgment. They Exodus 15 and reading verse 3. Yahweh is a man of war, and Yahweh is his name, right? You gotta understand, power is a power that deals with war. He's a warlike God, right? And being a warlike God, he has command over a great means through which he could bring destruction to this earth. We could talk about his son and the angels, which we're gonna get into, because again, not only is he bringing the war, but his son Yahushua is bringing the war, and his angels as well. But what? He also gonna bring judgment through his weapons, because again, we just read in Deuteronomy 32. It speaks about if I lift up my sword to heaven. If I could just get back the exact wording. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say I live forever, right? And if I wet my glittering sword and mine hand take hold on judgment. What glittering sword is he speaking about, right? Because we understand a sword is just a means specifically through which you administer killings, right? Because when Esau was blessed with the sword, was he actually blessed with a physical sword that he has in his hand? No, it's his means through which he upholds his power, through violence, through death, right? And we understand the Lord also has his sword. He has his weapons that he wants to unleash on this earth when that time comes. Because again, when the wars come, the weapons to bring about the wars will come as well. Jeremiah 50 verse 25, right? Yahweh had opened his armory, so we understand Yahweh is a power of war, right? And if we were to say all this whole thing was like an army, he's the commanding general, right? The captain, he had the highest rank in the whole thing. And what general, what captain, what commander, what minister of defense does not have weapons at his disposal? He has weapons and he plans to unleash them in these last days, right? Had opened his armory and brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of Yahweh, power of hosts, in the land of the Chaldeans. Right? The Lord has weapons. Isaiah 54 and 17. Salakia verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. The Lord has his armory, he has his weapons of destruction that he wants unleashed in these last days. 2 Ezra 16 and verse 3. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away an hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in the stubble when it hath begun to burn? May anyone turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? The mighty Yahweh sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? Yahweh shall threaten, and who shall not utterly be beaten to powder at his presence? The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled. The fishes thereof also before Yahweh, before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows, these weapons, that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world, these nuclear missiles, right? Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. That's what plagues are, Zechariah 14:12 plague, right? The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer. Return it not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Salakia. So what the Lord sending these weapons, right? And ultimately is to do what? All of this is to rise against these nations and to bring judgment on these nations. Zephaniah 3 and verse 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So what the Lord is planning to rise against these nations, these same weapons that we're now speaking about, he's going to unleash them in these last days. That is the ultimate and final judgment. Let me see. I'll read Joel 3. Is it Joel 2? Yep, Joel 3, and from verse, in fact, let me read I'll read from 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up, right? Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, that the weak say I'm strong. We're speaking about the weak nations in the earth today, saying what? Take all the resources you have and turn these resources into my weapons, right? And we're going to see what we're going to do with these weapons, right? Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Titter, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, Yahweh's judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. So what? The war is coming, and it's starting with Yahweh. He's bringing the war. But what? He's also sending his son as well, and his son is coming with war, right? There's Isaiah 47 and verse 3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Who's not going to meet thee as a man? The Son of God. He's coming here to wage a war with the world, and he's heading straight for the capital of the ultimate enemy, Esau and Edom. Which is, I believe that is Exodus, is it 17? Right. Yep, Exodus 17, and reading from verse 13, 14, verses 14, 15, 16, right? And Yahweh said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar and called the name of it Yahweh Nissi, for he said, because Yahweh had sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So in every dispensation of time we could think of, the Lord plans to war these people for as long as they exist in the earth. So we see that is clearly why Yahweh went straight to war Edom. That's not. In fact, let me see. I believe it's the same Isaiah 43. Nope. Same Isaiah 63 as well, because what? The day of vengeance, right? We're going to read that as well, right? Isaiah 63 from 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? What? It's a bloodbath he just came from, and he came from Edom. So what is that telling you? Upon his return to this earth, he's heading straight to Edom's capital, Bozrah, which is America today. This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength, I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. So this is Yahushai. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in mine fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all mine raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. So Yahweh, he's angry with this world, and he plans to bring judgment. And what is by the hand of his son that he's sending that judgment. His son as well has a part to play in waging war with this world. Revelation 19, we're going to read from verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness doth he judge and make war. So Yahweh also plans to war these nations as well. There's Isaiah 66 and verse 14. And when you see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like an herb. And the hand of Yahweh, who's the hand of Yahweh? Yahushai, shall be known toward his servants, and his indignation toward his enemies. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire, so Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebukes with flame of fire. For by fire and by his sword will Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many. So Yahweh Shai as well is coming toward this world. He fully intends to. That's Psalms 40 and 8, because ultimately he does what the Father wills, right? If his Father is willing to, it is Zephaniah 3:8, for it is my determination to gather the nations and assemble the kingdoms, that I may pour upon them my wrath and my indignation. Yahweh Shai is the one who delights to fulfill this determination. Psalms 40 from 7, then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me, I delight to do thy will, O my power. Yea, thy law, instruction is within mine heart. And Yahushai has been instructed to bring war on these nations. Jeremiah 4 and verse 7, the lion has come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. Who's this lion? The Lion of Judah. Revelation 5 makes reference of Yahushua as being the Lion of Judah, right? And the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He is going forth from his place, his tabernacle, being seated at the right hand of the Father in the heavens, to make thy land desolate, and thy city shall be laid waste without an inhabitant. Yahushua fully intends to come to this world and to bring a war to these nations and to destroy them. And what the angels coming as well. The angels also intend to be, to come along for the ride and bring their judgment to the earth as well, all to the will of the Father. Revelation 19 and verse 12. His eyes was a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed in a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Power. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. So we know the angels also gonna get in on this as well. They have a part to play in bringing this destruction. And what it say, what the armies which were in heaven. Let me see. Let's get this phrase here. Let me see if they're saying it here. Isaiah 5:16. Right. There is Isaiah 5 and 16, but Yahweh of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and Yahweh, power that is holy, shall be sanctified in righteousness, right? We're going to get what this word here, host, means. It goes into the Hebrew, tazabah, or tazaba'ah, right? That which goes forth, army, warfare, host, army, host of organized army, host of angels. So what? The warriors in heaven, the angels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and the rest are the innumerable hosts of the Lord, right? Those armies which were in heaven followed him upon horses. So what? These angels also fully intend to go and to bring war to this world, right? Because what? They are the behest of Yahweh to do so. There is Romans 9:29. And as Isaiah said before, except Yahweh of Sabaoth had left us his seed, we had been as Sodom and had been made like unto Gomorrah. And when we go into that word Sabaoth, right? Let's see here. Sabaoth, right? Right. Goes into the Greek Sabaoth, Strong's 4519. Yahweh, Lord of the armies of Israel, as those who are under the leadership and protection of Yahweh, maintain his cause in war. These angels here at the behest of the Most High to bring war to this world. If the Lord says wartime, them coming too. That is what they want to do. Them perfectly delight in doing these things. They Sirach 39 and 28, right? Right? There be spirits that are created for vengeance, who make it his angels, spirits, his ministers, a flame of fire. So these angels are spirits, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In a time of destruction they pour their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail, famine and death, all these were created for vengeance, and what the Lord is going to bring vengeance on this world by means of the war that he wants to wage with these people. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and a sword punishing the wicked to destruction. They shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. So what? They're going to delight in bringing this war to this world and to destroy these nations. Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as was never since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book, which is Yapa. Because what? The time of trouble, the time of war that has come into the world is the same time where the salvation is going to take place, because it's from that destruction that the elect are going to be saved from, right? Matthew 24:27, for as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so also shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, which what? This is what we also want to get into for this point here, is that what? Upon the return of the Son of Man, upon the return of the angels, right? Upon the commencement of war that Yahweh will declare on this world, what? It's going to be a chaotic scene. The return of the Son of Man is not no kumbayas, it's not no peace. He's coming with a sword, and he's coming to bring judgment. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And they shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So what? At that time shall thy people be delivered, when Michael stands up. So they're going to deliver the elect, but they're also going to destroy everyone else. Because what? It's going to be a chaotic scene upon the return of the Son of Man in heaven. That's why what they say in verse 30, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, because it's chaos the Lord is planning to bring to this world when he comes. Book of Nahum 1, I'm going to read from verse 1. The burden of Nineveh, spiritually today, these are miracles representative of Nineveh, right? So they're speaking about, this could well be spoken about of Nineveh in the prophetic sense as well. The book of the vision of Nahum, the Elkoshite. Yahweh power is jealous, and Yahweh revenge it. Yahweh revenge it and is furious. Yahweh will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. Yahweh is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. Yahweh hath his way in the whirlwind, and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebuketh the seas, and maketh it dry, and drieth up all the rivers. Bashan languisheth, and Carmel, and the flower of Lebanon languisheth, right? The mountains quake at him, the hills melt, the earth is burnt at his presence, yea, the world and all that dwell therein. Who can stand before his indignation, and who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. Yahweh is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him. But with an overrunning flood he will make an utter end of the place thereof, and darkness shall pursue his enemies. What do ye imagine against Yahweh? He will make an utter end, and affliction shall not rise up the second time. So what? The book of the vision of Nahum in these verses from 1 to 9, we just read, he saw a vision of the chaotic return of the Son of Man, the day of the Lord, as Joel often refers to it as, let me see. I'll read verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm. Why are the song? An alarm is a great noise that is sounded to warn people. You're going to warn people of something good that is going to come? No. You're warning them of disaster and of chaos, right? Sound an alarm in mine holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh cometh. For it is nigh at hand, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the mountains spread upon them. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there had not been ever the like, and there shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. So what the day of the Lord is, a day that is chaotic. It's crazy. It's frightening. It's not something that is peace and sunshines and rainbows and all, none of that. The day of the Lord is a chaotic day. Habakkuk chapter 3 and from verse 1. A prayer of Habakkuk, the prophet, upon Shigionoth. O Yahweh, I have heard thy speech and I was afraid. O Yahweh, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known. In wrath, remember mercy. Power came from Timon, which is Edomites, right? The Holy One from Mount Paran, Selah, his glory covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise, and his brightness was as the light. He had horns coming out of his hands, which is rays of light, right? Which goes into laser beams on the chariot, and there was the hiding of his power. Before him went the pestilence, and burning coals went forth at his feet. He stood and measured the earth. He beheld and drove asunder the nations, and the everlasting mountains were scattered. The perpetual hills that bow down, his ways are everlasting. I saw the tents of Cushan in affliction, and the curtains of the land of Midian they trembled. Was the Lord displeased against the rivers? Was thine anger against the rivers? Was thy wrath against the sea? That thou didst ride upon thine horses and thy chariots of salvation. We're going to get that in a translation, right? Let's see here. Habakkuk 3:8. Let's see what some translations say, right? Let's see. BBE, was your wrath burning against the rivers? Were you angry at the sea that you went on your horses, your war carriages of salvation? Easy English, I do not think that you were angry at the streams and rivers, Yahweh. You rode through the sea with horses and chariots, but I do not think you were angry at the sea. You did that to win the fight. Let me see. Geneva, was the Lord angry against the rivers? The same thing. Yeah, was Yahweh displeased with the rivers? ISV, was your anger directed against the water courses, or your wrath against the sea? Indeed, you rode upon your horses, upon your chariots of deliverance. The question is being asked, why are you so pissed off that the chariots had to come here and bring you destruction that we would have read from in the 7 verses prior? Because we're even, again, that verse 2. It's verse 1. In wrath, remember mercy. So what Habakkuk is asking the question, why are you so full of wrath? Because what? When he comes back, this is like, so it can be something out of a movie. It can be if this was a movie, there's a horror we about to watch and experience here, right? There's Jeremiah 30 from verses, let's see. No, right? From verse 4. And these are the words that Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling and not of peace. Of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye, Salakia, now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Going into that word great in the Hebrew, it goes to the Hebrew Strong's 1419, Gadal, large in magnitude and extent, in number and intensity, loud in sound, right, of importance, right. Let me see. Of power himself, great things, substantive, haughty things, greatness. So what the day of the Lord is going to be a loud, important day of himself. Zephaniah 14:9, in that day, or Zechariah 14:9, in that day there shall be one Yahweh and his name one. What is he going to do? Right? They're going to make this day look so like a movie. And by that time, everybody going to have to denounce their God. It'll be great destruction that he bringing. I'm going to read this here in the NIV translation, see what it says. Right? Jeremiah 30. See if I could get this. Bibles. Yeah. Right? Jeremiah 30 from 4 in the NIV. These are the words Yahweh spoke concerning Israel and Judah. This is what Yahweh says. Cries of fear are heard, terror, not peace. Ask and see, can a man bear children? Why then do I see every strong man with his hands on his stomach, like a woman in labor with his arm? The mighty man shall cry there bitterly, every face turned deathly pale. How awful that day will be. No other will be like it. So great, right? Speaking about the greatness of that day, the magnitude of that day. It will be a time of trouble for Jacob, but he will be saved out of it. Right? So we see in here, the Lord is getting ready to bring great terror upon the earth. That day is going to be something like out of a movie. That is why you had to hear Ezra say what he said in 16, because what? After he would have detailed the destruction of the nuclear missiles, which we would have read earlier, he then says in verse 17, woe is me who will deliver me in those days. Right, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come again? Shall there be evil in a city? Right? Amos 3:6. What shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Again, the alarm, which you'd have read when you go into that great. It goes into great and sound, right? Shall there be evil in the city, and the Lord Yahweh had not done it? So the evil that has come into the earth in these visions, which these prophets speaking about, is the Lord bringing it. It's going to be something out of a movie, and he's going to be the director. Isaiah 34 from 1, come near ye nations to hear, and hearken ye people. Let the earth hear and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth out of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He had utterly destroyed them, he had delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and their mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth from off of the vine, as a fallen fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven, behold, it shall come down upon all Idumea, And upon the people of my curse the judgment. The sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It's a bloody day. It's going to be a bloodbath. It is made with fat. Sorry, it is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahweh had a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. So for all that they had done to the people of the Lord and the land of the Lord, he has to bring judgment. Wait, say, I believe it's the same Deuteronomy, right? We'd have read, let's see. Right, verse 43, rejoice, O ye nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and unto his people. What they that have appointed my land with despiteful minds, appointed my land into their dispersion, into their possession, and cast it out with despiteful hearts and despiteful minds. There are people in the earth who stolen the Lord's land. He's not taking that lightly. He's going to bring judgment to them, right? So the controversy of Zion, the things that they have done unto his people, the things they have done unto his land, they're going to be paid back for it. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. So what the memorial of what the Lord is said to do that day is going to be a memorial that's going to last forever, because we know the smoke of their torment is not going to last forever, but the memory of it's going to last forever, right? So what is going to be something out of a scene of a movie. And what understanding that they're going to wage a war with the world, we know they're going to win. The prophecy says so. There is Revelation 11 and verse 13. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. So as a result of those arrows that were shot off in 2 Ezra 16, and in the earthquake was slain of men 7,000, so a complete number of men, whoever was in that land that was not destined to be saved upon the detonation of one of those missiles, died, every man. And the remnant were frightened and gave glory to the power of God. And again, they were frightened because it's a frightening day. It's going to be a chaotic day. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And the seven angels sounded, and there were great voices in heaven, saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord, Yahweh, and of his Mashiach, Yahushai, and he shall reign forever. So what? They were vanquished. The enemies, the ones who are going to come up and meet the Lord to war him when he brings his war, they are going to be beaten. They're not going to survive. They're not going to win. 2 Ezra 13. Let's see here. Verse 9. Verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him, speaking about Yahushua after he returned, was so afraid and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand nor held sword or any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, right? So this is a blast from a chariot that this is describing. As it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and a great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, so they couldn't recognize nothing when the Lord was done with them. But only dust and smell of smoke. Dies all they could see. Die the remnant as the ashes. When I saw this, I was afraid you're not going to beat the Lord when he returns, because again they intend to fight the Lord upon his return. Leave his war. Let's see. I believe it's in that same 2 Ezra. shall every man undertake let me see if it's this precept. Yep, 2nd Ezra 13, we're going to read from verse. Yep, it's in the same precept. Let me see. I'll read from verse 28. And that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. So these people gonna plan to fight the Lord upon his return. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he's gonna do this through his son. 2 Corinthians 15 speaks about it, and then come at the end when he, speaking of Yahushua, shall have delivered up the kingdom, the elect, the Israelites, up to power, Yahweh, even the Father Yahweh, right? Deliver them that are upon the earth, and shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth, right? That again, all the tribes of the earth gonna mourn, but even now wisdom of Solomon 5, they're gonna be astonished at the strangeness, they're gonna be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, right? And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another. So the Lord is not only going to he's not only going to bring chaos upon his return, but he's coming to meet a chaotic scene, right? One city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen which I showed thee before. Then shall my son be declared. Everybody gonna know. That's the Philippians 2, and I believe it's 9. Verse 9 to 10, wherefore power had also highly exalted him, and given him a name which is a rank which is above every other name, every other rank, that at the name of Yahushua every knee should bow, of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth, right? So it is the will of the Father to have every man bow to his son, right? So his son being declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. So everybody gonna leave the war that start with the self, and what they're gonna go and war the Lord, which is what Revelation chapter 12 is speaking about. The war in heaven that the Christians always butcher the understanding of. And there was a war in heaven. So again, a war in heaven. The Lord bringing our war to the earth, and it's gonna go down in your skies, in your heavens. Everybody gonna have everybody gonna be able to look up and see this happening. And his angels fought against Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, right? So the angels going up against the dragon, the Roman Empire, or the revived Roman Empire, and the dragon fought on his angels. So Esau and his soldiers coming, and they failed not. So these men didn't win. The dragon and his angels didn't win and prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven. So they're going to be up in the heavens, they're going to see them in the skies, and then as Yahushua said, he beheld as Satan fall from heaven, right, as lightning. So he's going to flash again, they get put out, they get wiped out. Neither was their place found anymore in heaven, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. So what we're seeing here is what? They are going to win. The ones who are going to wage the war, they are going to win the war that they have waged. The Lord is going to win. He's going to be victorious over our enemies. Revelation 14 and from verse 6. We're going to read down and then go close, right? I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, unto every nation, kindred, and tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear power, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, the time is at hand, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead and his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of power, Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So, right, the wrath of power, Yahweh, in the presence of the holy angels, Yachakadash, and in the presence of the Lamb, Yahweh Shai, they're going to witness their destruction because they are the ones that are going to bring it. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here's the patience of the here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of power and the faith of Yahweh Shai. So we patiently waiting until the day, Lord willing, when we be them saints, to see we enemies vanquished, and to see the Lord bring a war to this world, the likes of which ye have never seen before. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yoshai gonna bring, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yoshai, Ba'ashem Nokakodash, they are going to bring a war to this world, and they are going to win it. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, and that you were edified. In closing, I like to say, Kal Halal Yamla Yahweh Ba'ashem Yoshai, Ba'ashem Nokakodash, to give double honors, double unto the apostles and elders of great millstone who surely do good well. To the men standing by the highways and byways pushing this doctrine, I like to say shalom. And even unto the sincere Aquat, the sisters who sit listening to these lessons in silence, subjection and obedience unto their husbands, I like to say shalom. Your brother Maya Sha'ala. Until next time, I like to say shalom.